Text messages letting us know that you can and cannot hear us. But again, thank you for your patience. Tonight we welcome you to South Columbus United Methodist Church. It's a women's event all about finding self-love. We have some wonderful panelists here with us. We have some wonderful congregants here with us. And we have you as you watch tonight and tune in to what is being said. So we ask you all to just participate with an open mind. And we're going to start by asking the panelists to introduce themselves. We will start with the featured guest she just drove in from Atlanta. It was a little rough for her to get here, probably about over 3 hours for her to get to Columbus, but we welcome you. So if you would, please introduce yourself.
Well, thank you. I was on a mission. I was like, you know what? I'm going to make it to this event. I'm not from here originally. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. I graduated from Alabama A&M University with a master's in social work. So I've been in the countryside for a long time. So this is a little bit city, traffic. So I'm still here. I wrote a book about being single, and it's titled Calling All Singles, Falling in Love with Ruth Before Boaz. I love women, like working with women and working in the field of getting ourselves right back on track. I've worked with domestic violence women who have dealt with domestic violence, and yeah, that's it.
And your name is?
My name is Emily Ann Ute.
Okay. Thank you.
My name is pronounced Emily Ann Ute.
And I think you're originally Haitian?
I am from Haiti. Well, my parents are from Haiti.
All right. And the next panelist.
My name is Bobby Brown, and I am a proud member of South Columbus United Methodist Church.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Taylor Barnes, also a proud member of this church, and thank you for having me.
Hi, I'm Tia Hardiman. I do attend South Columbus, not yet a member, but I'm definitely looking forward to do it, along with me and my son and my two sons and my husband.
Hi, I am Rakira McKee, also a member of the church.
That was Jesus. Going to ask the panelists to please speak into the mic. Otherwise, they will have a hard time hearing you. We learned that lesson the last time we had this similar type of format. And going to give you all permission to take your mask down for as you sit a distant away from each other. And then that way everyone can hear you much clearer. So, and we will jump into the first question. Webster describes self-love as love of self or regard for one's own happiness or advantage. Has been conceptualized both as a basic human necessity and as a moral flaw, akin to vanity and selfishness, with conceitedness, egotistical behaviors, and a couple other things. But as we look at self-love, we want to turn to each of you, not just on the panel, but also here in the audience. What would you say self-love is?
Okay. Self-love to me is setting boundaries and not settling for less than what you deserve.
Self-love for me is knowing who you are and whose you are. I think a lot of time we walk in life and we kind of, like she said, settle for the bare minimum because I'm 30, my eggs are about to run out, or oh, no one likes me, or there's more men than women. But when you realize that you are created for a purpose, I think that self-love is knowing that you shouldn't have to settle because of who you are and who you belong to. That's what self-love is.
For me, my self-love is waking up every morning and knowing that I am enough.
Amen.
I would like to add not compromising what you believe or what conviction God has placed on your heart for anyone else, for sure.
And for me, self-love just means, like you said, identifying who you are and being able to wake up and say, okay, this is what I can do. This is what I'm able to do, and I can do so much more.
Okay. And look, I didn't properly gear us for this, but is there anyone from the audience who's willing to share their view on self-love? No? So you guys gonna trust us? Awesome. I love it. I love it. So Tammy, if you would go to question number 2.
All right. And I'll start this off with panelist number 2. Ms. Bobby, this question starting off with you. As we go on this journey talking about self-love, was self-love natural for you, or was it based on occurrences that happened in your life that you began to work on self-love?
It was definitely occurrences and things that have happened along life's journey. Even Tammy, as far back as my mother passing when I was only 11, I just knew that everyone could look at me and tell that I was a motherless child.
Wow.
And that stuck with me for a long time. And then I just realized that, you know, I may not have a earthly mother, but God will provide. And the women here at South Columbus have set some immaculate examples for me. And it's just so many that I could name, you know, but I don't want to leave anyone out. But yeah, it was definitely a journey. And
Thank you for sharing that. All right, panelist number 3, Taylor.
Who's 3? Definitely occurrences that have happened in my life. I too lost my father though at a young age, and I think I thought that when I got older that I was loving myself properly, but not until things actually happened, people I was choosing, behaviors I was choosing, did I realize, okay, that's not love. So definitely occurrences.
Thank you for sharing that. And Ms. Tia?
For me, it was also occurrences because I've always been, as younger, between 2 other sisters being the middle child, I've always felt like I didn't stand out as much. And so now that I'm solely here by myself and I see that, okay, I'm doing so much more than what I was, I'm able to identify with myself, okay, you know, I love myself. Whatever I do, I have a family, I love them, and everyone looks at me like if they need help, they can always come to me because I'm the one that's going to help them.
All right. Rakia?
All right, so like everyone else, mine was occurrences also, but mine was sort of different. As a child, I grew up, you know, without my mom and dad. I was raised by my grandparents. So for me, it was because I didn't get that love that's supposed to be natural that everybody gets. I had to, once I finally accepted that, I had to kind of like build the love for myself, and you know, that's kind of what kept me going. So it was definitely occurrences for me.
All right.
Yeah, me as well, occurrences. Like I said, my parents are from Haiti, so coming to America, they had to work. You know, they did not speak English, so me and my sisters, we raised ourselves. So we're in this community where, okay, not only that we're Haitian, we're dark-skinned girls. So like we have had to overcome so many obstacles of trying to love ourselves. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so even being a dark-skinned girl, like, do I bleach my skin, or can I wear a blonde wig? Or can I talk properly? Do I have to talk a particular way, you know? Because if I don't fit in with the black people, they're gonna say I'm a sellout. If I hang out with the white people, they're gonna be like, well, they're gonna act like, oh, can I touch your hair? Can I do this? Can I do that? So it's like you continuously always, like I said in my book, always have to look at yourself like, you know what, I am enough. Like, I could wear a purple wig if I want to, because you know what, I like me. I could talk like this if I want to, because I like me, you know? So, yeah.
Wow. It's powerful. With what you guys have just described and the way you described it, and I even read Webster's definition of self-love. But what is the difference between self-love and being selfish? Let's start with Emily, if you would.
Okay, well, all right. Well, there is, I think, a borderline with narcissism and loving yourself. But I think boundaries is imperative, you know? And so, like, okay, being selfish, honestly, is a good thing sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Because if you keep giving, you're giving and giving, and you're giving from an empty cup, how good, what good are you to everybody else? So sometimes being selfish is good, you know, and when it is a bad thing, you got to look at God and look at the definition of agape love, and okay, love is kind, love is patient, you know, that is not selfish, love is not selfish, but like I said, boundaries is very important. So it's just like a borderline. That's a tricky question, I think. I don't know if I answered it right. It's a tricky question. It's like,
It is. And because I feel that there is a mixture, there's I guess, a balance that you have to have. So, Bobby, what would you say to that?
That I'm sorry I'm second, but self-love and selfish, wow, that is a hard one. Self-love, I am enough, as I said, and I enjoy life. And you know, Margaret, I have never met a stranger, so I don't know by selfish. I don't know by that one. I'm gonna have to see if I run into that in my next 40 years, because like I said, though, but you know, I love people. I love everybody until you do something to me. So that might be part of my selfishness, you know.
Sure,
I gave you such love, and now here you are coming back with this foolishness. So yeah, I'd just be done with them. But yeah, I just love everybody. I love people.
Okay.
And as I thought about that question, I thought about a conversation that was had earlier as we were waiting to get started, where you mentioned that it's hard for you to say no sometimes. And I thought about self-love from that standpoint. Just because you're saying no sometimes to certain events or certain activities that people are asking you to be a part of, it doesn't make you selfish, because it could be at that point it's something you need to do for yourself. You may need to take care of yourself. Just like Emily Ann said, it could be that you need a spa day or something. It may be that you just need a day just to take off and rest and do nothing, talk to nobody, and help anybody. And you're loving yourself at that time, but that doesn't make you selfish, but you needed that moment, and you recognize that you needed that time, and you took that time for yourself.
yeah, that's
Very good
okay.
point.
That was real good, Tammy.
A very good point, but I'm still not going to let it go. What to you is the difference? There is a difference somewhere. I don't know the answer. There's no right and wrong answer, yet I just don't feel like we have hit it yet. Taylor, what do you say?
And I don't know, I'm not going to guarantee I can give you the answer either. But what I would say is I absolutely 100% agree with what Miss Tammy said. As soon as you asked the question, immediately I was thinking, well, what between self-love and selfishness, what is the why behind your choice for not doing something? What's the motive behind, you know, the feeling that you have? So definitely asking yourself, is this something that I need to be doing? Am I doing it for a great reason? You know what I'm saying? Am I giving myself time, a break, or do I just not want to be involved? You know, there's so many whys, but that's the immediate question that I ask myself.
Can we phone a friend?
I know.
Cheryl, can you help us?
Well, I don't really think anyone is selfish. I think with being selfish, you only think of yourself, and you're never ever ready to step out the box to help somebody do something else. So when we have children, we can have self-love, but we can't be selfish because they need us, whether it's to take them to practice, take them to school, and so there are some parents that don't do that. That's that selfishness. You get there the best way you can. So I think it's a big difference in loving myself and doing for other people. And never, I mean, you do have those people that are just about themselves, that if it's not going to benefit me, then I'm not going to do it. Like, what's in it for me? And so, with that being said, I think when we're able to give of ourselves to other people, and we see the light and see the need for other people, whether it's elderly or whoever it may be, then we become unselfish because we're giving our time. Same thing in church. I love Cheryl Flowers, but I'm willing to give my time, my talents, if I'm able, to my church and my church family. So that makes me love myself, and at the same time, I'm not selfish.
Very good. All right. Thank you all for those great answers. Just like Margaret stated earlier, there is really no right or wrong answer, and so I appreciate you all sharing with that. So as we continue to talk about self-love, and as you think about it, did anyone inspire you to love yourself more? And Tia, I'll start with you on that question. Did anyone inspire you to love yourself more?
I would have to say my husband. We've been married for 9 years now, going on 9 years. And he's actually been the one that's saying, Tia, you know, I know you love helping people, but help yourself. You know, do something for yourself. You don't always have to say yes. And that really helped me, you know, identify like, okay, I don't have to. That doesn't mean that I don't love you any less, but I could do more for myself. Tia, go have a day of your own. This is you. You can do that. And so, like I said, he is the one that brought more out of me than myself.
All right. Ms. Rakira, did anyone inspire you?
I would say probably God. And the reason why I say that is because every time I thought that I was less than because I didn't have, you know, my parents or whatever, God always worked it out for me my entire life. Like, I've always, like, I can't even remember a time that I've actually just been without. And, you know, I give to people and the blessings just come back to me. And a lot of people growing up, they didn't know that I didn't have my mom and dad in my life because they're like, oh, you don't look like a person who didn't, you know, have their mom and dad in their life. And I just thank God for that, you know, that I was able to deal with it and, you know, just grow from it and just continue on, just blessed.
Amen. Amen. All right. Yes.
Can I be real though?
Yes.
I know we in church, Jesus, I know, but I'm gonna be real. What happened was I had an abortion, and I was in a relationship where I was manipulated to do it. So I felt like at that moment, if I had loved myself, this is when I was young, like I was in my early 20s, if I had loved myself, I'd make a better decision, you know? And so it was that trauma for me, that the guilt and everything, and I was trying to find my way, like in God or in a church or in the club or anything, and I couldn't get over that hump. You know what I'm saying? And then that was the moment where I had to find out, like, okay, I got to get myself together. I'm talking about I had no degree, no nothing. I went back to school, got my bachelor's, got my master's, wrote a book, just to find out, like, who am I? And I intentionally told myself, I'm not going to be in no relationship. Because that's, for me, I feel like as women, we can love anybody, You know what I'm saying? He didn't even have to be cute. You know what I'm saying? We could just love him, just looking like Biggie, you know, Detroit Speed, just, you know. And so I had to figure out, like, who am I? What do I like? What don't I like? What kind of type? You know what I'm saying? So I intentionally took the time to be single, to discover, like, who am I? And that's what happened.
Wow.
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 Yeah.
Thanks for your transparency.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would have to say, at the end of every relationship, it taught me, threw me into more and more of loving myself. It's like, okay, if this didn't work out and I couldn't look at them as it not working out, each time I looked at myself, what did I do? What can I bring to the table? Who can I become? So after each relationship, I would have to say more and more of me developed. And then I'm telling you, when you turn 50, the whole world changes. Because at 50, you're not taking no foolishness no more. So yeah, being 50 and past relationships, it will bring on the self-love. If you don't have it yet, just hold on. It's coming.
All right now.
telling
All right.
Okay, we see what brought you there. But when you look and you reflect and you ask yourself, when am I the happiest version of me? When am I the happiest version of me? Taylor, we'll start with you.
Sure. I would say the happiest version of myself is when I finally, and just being real, finally stopped digging and looking elsewhere outside of God. The conviction that he set on my heart to be celibate, I was riding the fence for so long, just in and out of relationships. Like, okay, I'm not gonna do it this time. Did it, now I'm backtracking, now I look crazy. You know what I mean? So definitely being in God's word, prayer, being in even a seat of submission, like, okay, I'm gonna make a plan to be on my knees every night and be praying and be consistent, because that's a really big one for me. So absolutely taking the time to get with God first above all else.
Wow. And I find that to be quite powerful. And because I remember when Taylor came here to the church, and I don't think you would mind me sharing my conversation with you. And I remember when Taylor came to the church, and she was much younger at the time. And I don't know if you were still in high school, in college, what stage of life. But I asked Taylor about a week ago, I said, Taylor, there's something different in your life. I don't know what it is, don't know when it started, don't know exactly how to explain it. But looking at you from when I first met you to today where you are, something has changed. And it's just very, very telling the way you just described that was the change. And I could not put my hands on it, but I remember just talking to her, I was like, don't know what it is, but something's different. In the last couple years, a transition happened. And what was that transition? And I think that's what you just described. Wow, nice.
It is.
Right? Tia?
I'm trying to think, because I don't know if I could top that. Give me the question one more time.
When am I the happiest version of me?
I would say it's being with my son. I love them. I always will love them. And I just think, you know, once I close out my computer from working, just being there with them, even if it's just for a few hours because I have to go to bed, that's my happiest moment. That's where I know that, okay, this is all that matters right now. Amongst myself, they're the only ones that matter. Yes, my husband, he's in there too. But it's them. That's my happiest moment.
Okay. We're phoning a friend again. Is it possible for us to go to the audience and see what you have to say? Is anybody willing out there before I walk down those steps? Because every step I take matters. So, okay.
My happiest moments are family moments. All my children are adults right now, and everybody is going their own way. So when we take that family time and we all get together, and the grandchildren, that's my happiest moments. And for us to even talk about Jesus, knowing that I must have done something right, that these grown kids are talking about Jesus. And on Sunday morning, I can attest that I know all my babies, they're somewhere in church or they're watching it on TV. So those are my happiest moments, family time.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Rakira, did you want to share on that? I saw you pick that mic up. Look like you.
I was just preparing for but that question is easy for me. Mine's the same, family time. That's my happiest moments.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies. And as we talked about self-love and our happiest time and our happiest place, and we've talked, again, mostly about us, this question is more so asking, do you think self-love differs from one culture, community, race, gender, or whatever, to the next? Do you think that matters?
Yes, I do. It does differ. Like I grew up, I'm Haitian, so I'm Caribbean. So by now I need to be married. You know, that's part of, self-love. I need to be married with kids, but right now I'm an entrepreneur. I own 2 businesses. I graduated my master's. That's a form of my self-love, but to my culture, that's not loving myself. Something must be wrong with me, if I'm not married by now. So I have to kind of stay rooted in who I am to stand up to.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
What about you guys, rest of the guys on the panelists? Bobby, what would you say?
For me, my mind immediately went towards the world in which we live, the self-love of our brothers and sisters. It's evident that they don't love themselves because of the way they're treating each other. Again, as I said, for me it's easy because, love, it's a great thing. It's what I do every day. So my greatest moment, going back to that one, is just waking up and finding that God has loved me enough to give me another day, and that I can sing and I can move and I can dance and I can relate to people. Even with the hatred that's going on in the world, I stop and I ask other races, what is it? Why do you think this is going on? Why is this going on? Because I want to know what they think, that I might be able to see their point of view, or I can tell them and they can see our point of view. It's a slow process, but I'm still working on them. So yeah, it's going to work out.
Okay.
All right.
Sylvia, did you want to share?
No, I just said
Oh. Oh. Okay. What about gender? A part of that question was, do you think there's a difference with self-love between genders? You think it's different for men to have self-love than it is for women? Is there a difference in your mind, or what you've seen between men and women?
I think it's an absolute difference. I was gonna say, even on the first part of the question, even in the same culture, self-love looks different to other people. But you hear so many times from a male's perspective, in general, to not show emotions, to not cry, to do things like that. So maybe they consider self-love to be having that guard up, not letting anyone in, versus a woman who's been told to be emotional, or it's okay to be emotional. You know what I mean? Things like that.
Or they think something wrong with you because you're not emotional.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or the opposite. That's correct.
Yeah. How about you, Teal?
I definitely do think it's a difference. As you were saying that, them being stronger or wanting to be stronger, and we're just, stuck in our shell because we don't feel like anyone can do anything for us. I feel like with the male, they don't necessarily look for help because they know they can get it within themselves, versus us, we sometimes have to wait for it. Just speaking of just males in general, my husband, my father, they don't, for them, they act like they don't need anything but themselves. They can get it. You know, as far as me, I've always, okay, I need this help. So I think for them, it is a difference because they don't necessarily have to look for it. They don't ask for it because they know they have it themselves.
All right. So we go on to the next question. If you had to paint a picture or describe an image, what would self-love look like? If you had to paint a picture or describe an image, what would self-love look like?
Removing myself from situations way earlier than I did. Not accepting the bare minimum, not expecting. I wasn't even expecting things that I know or knew that I really deserved. So that would be my picture. Removing baggage.
Okay. So on your canvas, you would have some baggage being moved away. Okay. Anyone else can think about if we all had a canvas before us, and it say, draw self-love for me. What would you draw?
A beautiful butterfly holding 1,000-pound weight, because there is beauty and there's strength. So yeah, self-love is that immediately. A beautiful butterfly holding 1,000-pound weight.
Wow.
And Margaret, as I thought about that question as you were reading it, the first thing that popped in my mind was Christ on the cross. Him dying for us. That was love. I mean, he loved us enough to die on the cross. So that image gives me the ability to say, if God loved me that much, that his son died on the cross for me, I should be able to love myself and expect more for myself from others just because Christ thinks that much about me.
So your canvas would have a cross.
It will have a cross.
Nice. Anybody else paint a picture out there? Okay.
I'll go.
Okay.
So my canvas would probably have a peace sign. The peace, protecting my peace, would be what would be on my canvas for self-love.
Yeah, mine would probably be Christ as well, because I feel like God loved, and he sent Jesus to die for all of our sins, no matter what we did, like no matter what gunk. And in our mind, we like, have you ever done something as a kid and you're like, man, I can't tell my mama I did this. Like I've done that so much, but then, oh, she gonna beat me, like, you know what I mean? But it's just like, I feel like no matter what we have done, it's like, okay, the abortion, my blood covered that. Okay, you lied, my blood covered that. Oh, you stabbed somebody, my blood covers that. So it's just not, church is not just for the whole, it's for the broken too. And that's how I love God the way I love God, because it's just like, it doesn't matter what I have done or how far I have gone, he just come back home. And I think that would be my picture, because he is love, you know?
Wow.
Wow. Sound like we about to have church up in here.
I know, right? About to bring tears to my eyes. And as we continue to talk about self-love and the different things that we've done and how important it is to us, but is it possible for a person to lose self-love? Are there things that can happen in life that cause a person to lose that self-love? And Rakia, you take the sip. That's okay. That's all right. Bobby, we'll go ahead and start with you.
What did you say?
Is it possible for a person to lose self-love?
Oh, definitely.
Hey, before you guys start, make sure you don't, when you're holding your mic, make sure you don't turn it off. Just hold it, just speak. You don't have to turn it on or off. is ready for you.
Okay.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Okay.
Is it possible to lose self-love? Yeah, just like you said, just going through things and doing something just so devastating in your own mind that how can I even face myself with this thing that I have done? So yeah, just, because like you said, culture, when I got divorced, I had been married 14 years. So that was a real hard self-love test. You put in all these years. Is this really, you really supposed to be by yourself? You're really supposed to walk away? Yeah, I had to go. That was real self-love. I had to go, yeah. So, yeah, you can lose it because in those 14 years, it was slowly, I was losing it. So, yeah, when I broke free at 50, yeah, that was it coming back.
Rakira, we're coming back around to you.
Okay. Absolutely. I think trauma, heartbreaks, all kind of things like that can result in, you could have self-love and then you end up losing it. Like she said with her situation, divorce, all those things.
All right, Taylor.
Yeah, I agree. I think your very own choices and decisions, whether it's a breakup or not, if it's just something you chose to put yourself in because of whatever you're dealing with in your life, can absolutely cause you to really look at yourself like, what did I just do? You know what I mean? Like, why did I make the decision I made? The shame will eat you up. So absolutely.
All right, Tia.
I do agree with what you're saying. For me, I think is letting people take advantage of you, and you constantly going along with it, knowing, okay, I don't need to do this, but you're accepting it. And then eventually you look at yourself like, okay, do I really love myself? I don't need to do this, but I'm doing it. And just letting you, like I said, letting people take advantage of you, and you're not letting them know that, okay, no, this is not what I want to do. So that's mainly my thing, is just accepting what you should not have to.
All right, thank you. Emily Ann?
Oh, no, they answered it.
Okay, all right then.
Okay. Now that you've found self-love, what are some of the things you like to do? Now that you found self-love, what are some of the things you like to do? Hold on 1 second.
For me, it was loving me, knowing that I can do something by myself. I always thought if I do something, I have to take my husband, I have to take the children, everybody has to be included. But it's me. I need that love sometime, and I just need to get in the car and ride, or just go somewhere and get me a soda and sit down. So that's for me.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else out here?
All right.
And so up here on the panel, you guys want to describe that for yourself. Now that you found self-love, what are some of the things you like to do?
I've always loved to read, really, but when you start dabbling in things that you have no business in, you kind of lose your way. So it's like coming back home, definitely reading and writing.
Yeah. And it's amazing too. I was thinking about what Linda was just saying and digesting that, and I think about friends who we have this one friend who she's always been that person who loved to go to the movies by herself. Love to go out to eat by herself, just love that self-time. And I was just thinking one time, I was like, I don't know if I ever been to a movie by myself before. I just, I was thinking about some of the activities you like to do. I don't know if I ever, I don't know if because I'm not a big movie person, so somebody prompt me to do it, or I just haven't spent that type of time. and, going to a movie or something. So I just thought about that when Linda was describing that. Okay, back to the panelists. What about you guys?
No, I love doing that. Okay, so when I first got single, you become codependent with people, so you don't know how to be, like, I went to eat by myself, and I saw the waitress saw me, I didn't know what to do. Like, do I get an appetizer? Like, it's like, so it's like, that's like the first step, and I knew, I'm like, wow, that's a problem. Like, you are born on this earth on your own, and you can't even go out to eat on your own. So that working out, something just to get my mind right, is what I like to do.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is.
Sometimes I just like to ride with no music on, the radio's off, everything, just ride in that quiet. So yeah, I really enjoy that piece, just listening to nothing but the breeze blowing by, or whatever. But yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
Right.
I definitely can relate to that. I ride in my car all the time with nothing on. And even recently, my husband asked me to play something from my playlist. And it was a joke, because he know I don't have no playlist. I don't have no music. So it's like, play something from your playlist. I was like, I don't have no playlist. Because when I'm by myself, I'm by myself. I like quiet time. I can sit in the house, no TV, no radio on, nothing, just me. And so it's like, okay, so you got jokes, because we ain't got no playlist. Now let me listen to your music. so yeah, I definitely can say that quiet time means so much.
All right, ladies. And I know we are talking about self-love, and it seems like this room is full of women that have self-love for themselves. But if you had to pick one thing, what would it be that held you back or holding you back from self-love? One thing that would hold a person back from having self-love, or have held you back from having self-love?
It's definitely a lot of trauma. I'm still in the process. So when I wrote my book, I wrote it in a perspective of, girl, don't do this. Don't do it, girl. You gotta love yourself, because I didn't do it. That's how I wrote my book. So I'm still in the journey of wholeness, or trying to find myself. You know what I'm saying? And I think that trauma does trigger you, because why don't you accept me? Why don't you like my skin color? Why don't you like me? What did I do to you? You know what I mean? It's type of thing. So you start questioning yourself. You start putting yourself in situations where you normally wouldn't do it, because we want to belong. That's a part of life, belonging to somewhere. So when people don't accept you, you start wondering about yourself.
And I can even think back, even as you were saying that, when we talked about, was it a cultural thing? And you mentioned that in the Haitian culture, if you're a certain age and you're still single, then there's something wrong with you. And I believe it's that way even in the most cultures, because as you go through life and as you get a certain age and you're still single, people looking at you side-eyed, they whispering, saying something must be wrong with you. And then after a while, you start wondering, is something wrong with yourself? And then you start going through different phases of trying to figure out what's wrong with you, why you don't have somebody, until finally it clicks that you are enough, and that in God's time, everything will work out the way it's supposed to. And you come at peace with it, and you start loving yourself, and you start doing things like you say, by yourself, or you get a group of friends and go out and do different things, and you just become at peace with it, because you learn to love yourself and to realize you enough. And when God is ready, God will do what he needs to do for you.
Because can we talk about soul ties? Did I do it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did I break it?
We broke another mic?
Because let's talk about soul ties. I don't know how hard it is to break a soul tie. Well, it's hard. It's difficult, because you're tied to somebody, like, in a way that you were not meant to break apart. So you don't even say if you don't even like Asian men. So you're 40 years old, you're single, and you're like, man, let me just date this guy. You don't even like him. He's not even meant for you. Now you have to work so hard to break a soul tie. For a man, that's not even meant for you because you're settling, because you're overthinking, because you're going ahead of your time and not God's time. That thing, soul ties. No, I don't know about y'all, but
I believe we've all had some of those soul ties that we shouldn't have been tied to and had to break.
looking at their picture like, ooh.
And look at them sideways. All
I
right.
think being in denial can deter you from self-love as well, because sometimes you will know the truth, you'll see the truth, but you just keep telling yourself like, nah, this ain't what it is, I'm tripping. You know, and by being in denial, that can keep you in a lot of toxic situations and, you know, keep you away from self-love.
All right.
I would say, just to add on, the fear of the fear of being in an uncomfortable situation, the fear of conflict, maybe the fear of being, you know, not belonging, like you said, because now that you're stepping outside of what you maybe used to do, that's not self-love, you're getting questioned, you might lose company, so just fear.
That's true.
Okay. Anyone out here? We always calling on a friend, so. Okay, and if not, we'll go to the next question. This one's a little deep. What do you forgive yourself for as it relates to self-love? What do you forgive yourself for as it relates to self-love? And I envision that to be my mic. Oh, okay. Phone a friend. Oh, phoning a friend out here. We going to this friend from Delaware.
I forgive myself for staying in a relationship that I know wasn't any good for me to begin with. And when I finally got out of it, it allowed me to step back and really look at it for what it really was. Other people could see it wasn't good for me, but at the time I couldn't see it. But when I saw it, that's when I had to get myself away from it. And have no regrets, never look back.
Wow.
Emily, that's that soul tie that you was just talking about, right?
You don't like Asian food. You don't like Chinese food, but you was messing around.
And for me, it was just going along with the foolishness. I've dated so many drug dealers, y'all, just going along with the foolishness. So I can't even talk about it, but yeah, it was just foolishness. Just to be caught up in such a life, that's why I'm just so happy to still be here. Y'all just don't know my story. I'm not even supposed to be here. So yeah, foolishness.
Wow. And Emily, I hope you don't mind me dipping into your book a little bit. I remember reading in your book, I think, I don't know if it was in your book or part of our conversation, but you described when you were getting your bachelor's degree, even when you were getting your master's degree, that you were not in the ideal situation when you were going through that. And even that you experienced a time of homelessness while you were still going to get your degree. Did you have to go through a process through that time and after that time as far as self-forgiveness or something that redirected you or gave you that strength to continue to pursue those higher things?
Yes, so throughout the process, I feel like God has not left my side. So I look at God as my father, and I know I'm stubborn, and I know he wants to beat me with his belt. I'm the type of person that you're gonna have to shake me up to hear, like, I'm gonna get through this. I'm gonna get you through this, but it's gonna be the hardest process of your life. When I got my bachelor's degree, I had nowhere to go. I was sleeping in my 2006 Forenza Suzuki, and I'll never forget it, my baby. But it was the hardest process in my life because I couldn't go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? And I had to trust God. I had to lean on the word. I had to talk to him every day, or I had lose my mind. And I think that was the hardest season that turned me around. Like, okay, I need to figure out something else. You know what I'm saying? We go through life, it's like, okay, I could do this. I could dabble in this. I could do this. But sometimes God loves you so much where he's like, okay, I'm going to put her in jail. And she's going to stay there. Her mom not going to bail her out. You know what I'm saying? Or, okay, I'm going to allow her baby to die. You know what I mean? Like Bathsheba and David. I'm going to allow it to happen so that she could see, like, this is not meant for you. This is not your path, you know? And I had to forgive myself. It's still in me, but I still have to forgive myself. I am enough. I am worthy. You never stop getting to that journey. That journey never stops. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to go through life again. Something's going to happen again. You're going to have to do it again. So.
Amen.
Wow. Amen.
Amen.
Right.
All right. And ladies, this may be sometimes difficult for some of us to admit to because we can find all kind of reasons. But the question is, how does the lack of self-love affect your relationship with other women? And does it?
Now, y'all know y'all lying. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I don't believe so. I see beautiful women, and I tell them, I really do. I'll tell somebody, a complete stranger, oh my God, your look is fabulous today. I love your look. I love the way you look. Oh my God, you are so beautiful. I do that to women because as women, I think we need that to lift each other up. My sister and I, people swear we're twins. We get that all the time. They stop us in the street. Oh my God, you guys must be twins. Oh my God, you're so beautiful. So I give that back. I put that out there every day, everywhere I go. Complete strangers. You are enough, and you're beautiful. You're beautiful too. Thank you.
And Bobby, we really need more women like you around because she really does. I mean, she'll tell you in a heartbeat you're beautiful, and she just brighten up your day if you're having a bad day. And that is beautiful. We need more women like that. And as I mentioned that, as I asked the question, sometimes when we do, for those, and I'll admit it, having not loved myself as I should in my earlier days, there were days that I did hate on certain women. And it had nothing to do with the woman that I encountered or the women I encountered. It was what I had missing inside myself that made me judge them without even knowing them or coming to some kind of conclusion about the woman. And I didn't even give her a chance to see what she was about. But it was something missing in me where I didn't love myself enough that I could be open enough to accept another woman for who she was. And that's just being transparent with you all.
And ouch if you were that woman. And ladies, this has been really nice, and we're coming to our last question. And this last question is sort of long, but it's something that I feel fit into everything that we talked about. How do you feel about your body image as it relates to self-love? Does your hair, makeup, clothes, social media posts, things that reflect you, does that impact your self-image? Is that a part of your self-image? Is it a part of how you feel about yourself? Taylor, I think we left with you and we'll come back around.
Okay, I would say probably has been the majority of my life. So that's a great question because I always grew up taller than the rest of probably those who I went to school with. And when you're a lot taller, sometimes you're also skinny. So I dealt with that a lot as well. And so every now and then, just being transparent, I'll find myself saying, how do you look in these jeans? Or do we want to wear that today because maybe I don't really like what it looks like, you know what I mean? So definitely plays a huge part in self-love. I've come a long way.
Man.
Amen.
Tia?
I would definitely agree with that. Growing up, I had a real bad acne problem. hated it. You see my sisters, both of them are light skinned, and skin, even to this day, is flawless. And it's just me. Even now, I may still have a little breakouts. And so I always found that self-image, looking at myself in the mirror, okay, I may have to wear a little bit of makeup, but I love myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I could go out there and I don't really complain about how I look because I love myself. Someone's gonna love me. I don't have to do too much, but I can look at myself and say, Tia, you have it. You have it all that you need. Just, you know, being able to wear something nice, being able to do my hair, even during this COVID, prior to now where we can go out, I was still gonna get my hair done because I loved it. So it's just taking care of myself because I've always, growing up, that's one thing, my look, I did not care for that. And again, my complexion, compared to my sisters, like I said, both of them are light skinned. And me just in that middle, that's one thing I did not like. Just being a darker skin, growing up with my sisters, my older sister, we're only a year apart, so we're always in school with each other. And I'm the quiet one. And so just being able to be recognized, taking care of myself, and you know, as I grow older, I recognize, you know, I love myself. Whatever I do to myself, I love it.
All right.
Rakira.
So I would agree with them 100%. I do think that in my image, that does mean a lot to me, you know, when it comes to self-love. I feel like if I look good, I feel good. I don't like to go nowhere ugly. I don't know. I feel like when I look a certain way, I feel that way. So just getting up in the morning, doing my hair, you know, doing my makeup, making sure my nails is, you know, stuff like that. That's self-love to me, and yes, it is very important to me.
Yeah, no, I agree with her. Like, I love doing makeup and hair, but honestly, like, I cut off all my hair. I'm bald under this wig because I chose to, not because I'm bald-headed. I have hair. But I feel the most beautiful when I take my wig off and I take my makeup off and I'm, like, in my natural state, because it's just like, for me, it's like I don't have to pretend for nobody. I could just be me. Now, I don't let a lot of people in that space because you're not gonna play with me. but I do, that's when I feel the most beautiful, at my natural state, just me, myself, and just nobody judging me, you know what I'm saying? But I do agree with her because I like to play around and I like to, you know, have fun with my hair and do all that stuff, but that's when I feel the most beautiful to me. I'm gonna take this now.
I guess it does play a part of body image, but again, it's all about the self-love. I mean, you know, it seemed like to me I've always had a pot belly my whole life, but to me it just means I eat good. I look for somebody that look like they might enjoy a meal too. Like, hey, we can be friends, we can go eat. I am trying to do better just because of health-wise, but because, you know, I am in my 60s now, and I really am not on any medication, and I don't want to be. So I'm really trying to do better with myself as to what I put in me. So that's my self-love of body image, is what I put in me. You can see what you see, and if it's lumpy or it's out of place, it's okay. But yeah, it's working on the inside, so it's gonna come out. You just let me keep eating these green vegetables. It's gonna come out.
All right.
And we're gonna begin to wrap. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tammy. Not quite yet.
Okay.
Not that part.
Okay.
And Pastor's gonna come down, and we're gonna do a creed as women. But before we do so, and while he's coming, I just want to leave each one of you panelists with a token of our appreciation. In this particular cup, I feel like we found a new friend in Emily. So I want to say a friend is God's way of proving He doesn't want us to walk alone. So I just want to.
I'm coming back next Sunday, y'all. Y'all got church on Sunday? I'm gonna drive 2 hours again. I'm gonna be late.
She already said she's gonna be late.
No, I'm not.
So you can pass this to Emily, and Bobby, amazing woman, beautiful, caring, loved, cherished.
I try. Thank you, friend.
And Tia, I want you to take a sip of joy every day. This is your joy. And this was to hold the bags together, but it was for a purpose. But Kira, I want you to take a sip of knowing that you are blessed on a daily basis. And Tammy, if you would look at that bag, and that's Taylor.
Taylor, as you go through each day, I want you to remember peace and have peace in knowing that you are enough.
So as we conclude, Tammy is gonna share what this meant to her, and Pastor's gonna come, and I'm gonna come to give you guys the creed that we will all do together.
Okay. As Margaret stated, as I was preparing for this afternoon, I was talking with a friend and talking about how excited I was about this event. And as we talked, she mentioned a song, and it was sung by one of the greatest women of all time. And the song is The Greatest Love of All. And I just want to say this from that song, because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself, it is the greatest love of all. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. And of course, we know that was by the late, great Whitney Houston. So I thought that would be fitting as we close out today.
First of all, I'd like to say this has been a very meaningful forum, and thanks to each of you, and particularly our special guests for being here. Thank you for sharing and opening up your heart. And it's such a blessing to be able to hear people that I don't normally get to hear. You know, that you come to church Sunday after Sunday, of course, pre-COVID that is, and you come in your quiet way, and you come and you worship God, and I don't get a chance to talk to you, to hear from you, but and how inspiring it has been. So thank you. I mean, I always hear from Margaret more than Sunday. Amen. And I'm thankful for her. She's just a wonderful leader, and we appreciate her. But let me lead you in this saying here. So just repeat after me, or we're going to just do it together, perhaps?
No, you can repeat after you after me.
Okay, all right. My creed to me: I am strong.
I am strong,
Beautiful and confident.
beautiful and confident.
I commit to operating from a place of strength.
I commit to operating from a place of strength.
I commit to never stop pursuing and learning a better me.
I commit to never stop pursuing and learning a better me.
I believe that my well-being is essential to being the best me.
I believe that my well-being is essential to being the best of me.
I empower myself to fostering relationships, to care for my mind, body, and soul with respect, kindness, and compassion.
I empower myself to fostering relationships, to care for my mind, body, and soul with respect, kindness, and compassion.
I embrace peace and happiness inside of me.
I embrace peace and happiness inside of me.
I declare victory over anything that desires to hinder me.
I declare victory over anything that desires to hinder me.
And today,
I
I open myself to adopt or sustain positive attributes to move me forward, to build me up, to love who I see in the mirror from the inside out.
I open myself to adopt or sustain positive attributes to move me forward, to build me up, to love who I see in the mirror from the inside out.
I commit from this day forward
I commit from this day forward
to loving myself deeply,
to loving myself deeply,
unapologetically, and without restraints.
and without restraints.
And at the bottom it said, sent from my iPad.
It was sent from my iPad. Guys, I want to thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for being patient with us. Thank you for participating without holding back. And Emily, as we close, I want you to tell us, how can we get your book?
Okay, my book is on Amazon. If you wanted to pre-order today, I could see you after this event and we could pre-order because it's coming in. So yeah, my book is called Calling All Singles, Falling in Love with Ruth Before Boaz. And I'm gonna rewrite that book too, so look out for a second version of it.
All right, and Tammy's holding the version up.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very good